especially for entrepreneurs, business leaders, we need to be actively engaged in the culture discussion in our business. We have to be actively engaged. So if you're taking notes, start with writing that active engagement in the culture of your business. It's vital that you are part of it. You are not leaving it to chance. And we're going to discuss the potential outcomes of leaving those elements of your business to chance and the results that could come out of that. You generate profit if you satisfy your clients, but you sell that service or that product for more than it took to produce. So please, let's be clear about that. If you're not selling your products or services for more than what it took to produce them, then you're not in business because you're not generating profit. Culture is either intentional or unintentional. There is no such thing, ladies and gentlemen, you can write this down. There is no such thing as an absence of culture. It just simply means this: if you have not created it, it is self-creating. There is a culture, there is a way in which things are being done, because as human beings, in our interactions, in our functions, we find a way to do it. And so in your organization, the question to you is this. I want you to write that question for yourself. Is our culture intentional or unintentional? And here's what this whole discussion is about today. We want you as the entrepreneur, you as the business leader, not to let it be unintentional. It must be intentional. It must be something that you're cultivating. If people have said this is the standard, what makes you outstanding? And it is time for you as an entrepreneur to begin to think, if it is cultural, which means it is the behaviors, it is the ideas, it is the customs within your organization that are excellent. When you benchmark it, if people are communicating, good. Is it effective? Good. But is it outstanding? How can the communication become outstanding? By being extremely timely, by being clear, by not having to repeat. Those are the kind of things that begin to go on within your organization. Can I make I think we've kind of gotten the idea. I think we got them there. Excellent. Many of them are British brands. Land Rover, which makes the Range Rover, the Vogue that you talked about there. Rolls-Royce, Bentley, these Jaguar. There's a way in which that culture of top-end luxury, you sit in it, you can't even begin to see. That's what I'm saying. Do you begin to see how immediate the recognition comes? And it is cultural. These are all British brands here. These are all Italian brands here. These are all German brands here. These are all Japanese brands here. Ladies and gentlemen, when we think culture, it is pervasive and it cuts through. So when I'm talking about your business now, and we are cultivating a culture of excellence, listen to what I'm saying. I need for you to recognize in what areas do you already stand out or want to stand out. You need to identify that. In your business, what are the things that are so recognizable? They know it about you. They know that if they come to you, this is what the experience is going to be like. Is it quality? Is it service? Is it efficiency? Is it timeliness? Is it innovation? And the list goes on. So the first part of the exercise, because now we're getting to the practical side of it. The first part of the exercise is to identify what areas do you already stand out. And then you ask yourself, what areas do you want to stand out? Because let me be as honest as I can be, ladies and gentlemen, right? Let me be as honest. You can't stand out in everything. Okay? You can't. It is not possible. So let me explain what I mean by that. You can't be at the top end of innovation and also completely affordable. You get what I'm saying? You can't do those two things at the same time, because there's a cost to innovation and there's also a cost to affordability. So maybe it is low volumes, high price, high volumes, low price. So to do both and to be excellent is difficult. So we need to then identify for ourselves and to begin to say, then what then is required? So for you, please look through your organization and begin to see what areas are we already standing out, and then begin to decide what areas you want to, because you can't put your effort into everything. One of the mistakes that we do as entrepreneurs is that we try to do everything at once. You can't. You have to prioritize and begin to list and say, this is the area in which I'm going to focus, and then put in the effort there and then move on to the next. I'm not saying that you have to stay at just one area. I'm just saying you can't do it all at once. So begin to do that for yourselves. And why then are we saying that we want to cultivate a culture of excellence? Is that because the overarching area of excellence or mediocrity. Now, this one is hard. Guess what? You know, you can have a mediocre culture. Very strong, very strong. You are excellent at being mediocre. And this will be closely linked to your brand. The overarching area of excellence or mediocrity will be closely linked to your brand. That is why you want to generate a culture of excellence. You have to. Why? Why is it important? Your brand is going to be linked to it. And so when you think about it from that perspective, think about it that culture is key to a successful brand. Okay. Let me show you what I mean by that. Let me give an example. In the chat box, ladies and gentlemen, when you think about Kenya Police, the Kenya Police Service, what comes to mind immediately in the chat box? Because I know most of us are Kenyans and have interacted within the Kenyan market. What immediately comes to mind? Joki, you can't just laugh. No, that doesn't. Yeah. Do you see that? Now, here's the question, and this is what I'm talking about. And this is what I'm talking about, right? Is every policeman corrupt, slow, brutal? Is every policeman like that? In my life, I am so grateful. I'm so thankful to God. I've met some wonderful policemen who have gone out of their way to help me, who have been timely, who have been kind, who have, instead of trying to take me out, have tried to help me. There are some, not all of them. But what's the overarching brand? So let's use another government agency here in Kenya, and I want to show you what the power of culture is. I want to show you what the power of culture is. What comes to mind, ladies and gentlemen, when you think of the Kenya Wildlife Service, KWS? What comes to mind? It is not a given that they know how to greet your customer. It's not a given. So begin to document the process, and it's a powerful tool. I'm telling you, I've walked into shops. I'm a customer. Like, I've walked into your shops, and I've walked in and walked out, and nobody even greeted me. Nobody even greeted me. So you walk in and just get out. But I walked into other shops where somebody greeted me and they made a sale. Good morning, sir. How can I help you? Are you looking for anything specific? And I'll say, no, I'm just browsing. And the person is very clever. They say, oh, no problem, sir. Just continue to browse. Feel free. There's lots of things that you might like. Hey, by the way, we have a special offer on some items at the back of the store over there. Just let me know if you need any assistance. I'm here to help you. Now they've given me direction to go and look at something where apparently there's a sale. That didn't just happen by chance. It's a process. So within your team in the shop, do some mystery shopping. Okay? Get somebody to come into the shop on your behalf and just go and look and begin to see what is going on and see what the experience is like. Then come back. Don't beat people up, but train them and give them that process. Document how it's done. Because culture, remember, is habit. It is the way people do things. It doesn't happen overnight. So give yourself some time to be able to do that. Okay? Culture must be cultivated. And we talked about cultivation at the very beginning. And we said cultivation, create a new condition by directed effort. So plan, cultivate that culture. Where did my slide disappear to? There we go. Cultivate to maintain excellence. Remember, culture is either what? Intentional or unintentional. If you are not working in the culture, it is creating itself. And you'll find yourself with a specific culture and it's very hard to shift it over time. So take time and invest in that. Why I said vision is very important for us is because that vision needs to drive those who are tired of that toxic culture, but it also needs to show those who are the drivers of the toxic culture that they're not welcome anymore or they change. It doesn't happen naturally. It is going to take time, and as we said, I'm going to keep going back to that slide at the very beginning, it is going to take directed effort. What is it that is failing this culture? Is it your attitude? If it is your attitude, change the attitude or you get out of here. That's the key. And there's a toughness that you need to have as a leader to say, if we're going to change the culture, it means you change or we get rid of you. Yes, the primary goal is customer acquisition. It's sales, sales, sales. But you don't just want sales now. You want sales in 3 months. So those customers need to come back, isn't it? You want consistency within your team so they're not disappearing down the road and just heading out and doing nothing over time. So you cannot separate the two. You want to start implementing the cultural environment that will bring consistency over the long term. As a business owner, in as much as your current goal is sales, current goal is the direction you're going for, you also have to think long term. I've left organizations because I could tell the leadership was rigid. You sometimes have to leave. Tough answer, right? But if you can see, the leader drives the cultural agenda of the organization. If the leader is unable to drive a positive culture, it's unlikely that it's going to change. And so give it your best. So I gave, in my opinion, I gave my best for the period that I was there, gave it with a good attitude. But when I noticed that this is unlikely to change in the near future, sometimes you might need to leave. Excellence is the pursuit of perfection. There is no perfection in this world. So that constant pursuit is where you find excellence. The constant pursuit of perfection. You're looking for it because you can't find it. Just know that it's out there. How close can we get?